Epstein, was he in the same prison that you were in?
Yes. It's the government, they're gangsters. If you go too far, you will magically die. I call the Clintons the sixth family. They should have been part of the mafia.
Did you see Elon Musk on Joe Rogan? Doge's going in. When Rogan asked him about it, well, do you know where that money's going? And then he went, yes. And he's like, well, can you tell us? He's like, the fact that he was doing the whole, I can't tell you. Like, I can't say, like.
No, he's scared.
But think about it. You're probably, because you're rich.
Go too far.
You're filthy rich. Yeah. You're filthy rich. And being wealthy in the United States makes you powerful. But obviously, he feels he's not safe. Like, he knows something that if you makes him unsafe.
I'll give you something real fast, and we'll give an example. There's a guy, if you look him up, he created cars that run on water.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I've heard this.
Hold on. He created cars that ran on water.
Right.
And they offered him, the oil tycoons, millions. Stop. He refused. He went to a meeting. He drank water. He goes, they poisoned me. He dropped dead right there. If you go too far and you really go against their money, like Elon Musk is saying, the money, you will magically die. If you believe in your heart that Jeffrey Epstein in that cell, you're crazy. You know in those cells it's impossible to.
I mean, look, yeah, I've been in those cells. I think guards do. Look, I admit it's extremely suspicious, but
the cameras you can't do that.
I hear you, but cameras do often not work. I can't imagine. Here's my biggest problem. My biggest problem is not the cameras not working. It's not the guys falling asleep. Here's my biggest problem with the whole situation is that how do you get someone, like, it depends on how you think he died. How do you get somebody else into the entire prison, into that wing, into that cell to kill him with other inmates?
You think they can't do it?
There's
not other inmates.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're in a private area.
But he had another guard. He had another cellie in there. I think having that cellie kill him.
Well, let me ask you a question.
More reasonable.
What do you think about him maybe telling the CEO, I thought this scenario, hey, I'll give you $2 million, give me something to kill yourself with?
Or what I thought was all.
No?
So what about the other? There was another inmate in there, like
before he was in the box,
telling that inmate to kill him.
And that guy died of a heart attack in a cab that was going to go on a show. Hey, want to hear how sick that is?
That's odd.
Oh. He died of a heart attack in the back of a cab 3 days before he's supposed to go get interview and tell everything that Epstein told him. He magically dies in a fucking cab. Wow, what a coincidence. They have a thing called a heart attack gun. You know that?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's real. Makes you have a heart attack.
I think the problem
This is the government, bro. You cannot fuck with them to a certain extent. They will make you vanish, bro. It's just the way it goes.
I think the problem is that most conspiracies nowadays
are real.
Are seem insane until they're proven real. It's like, what is it? The difference between a conspiracy?
What's the chances of his bunkie dying 3 days before he's giving interviews about Epstein telling him things? It's too much. Listen, it's too much of a coincidence. I'm sorry.
Okay, and that I'll give you. It's too much of a coincidence.
Come on.
What I am saying is cameras don't work. Guards fall asleep.
Right.
So, my problem is I would have to be like, how would you get it had to be somebody in the prison with him there to pull that off. It has to be a guard. It has to be another inmate there.
I can see those scenarios.
You can't get all the way into the prison.
I believe someone had him killed, or I believe he asked the guy to give him, like, I'll pay you. Because CEOs take money all the time for bribes in there, especially in there. He's a billionaire. There's no way he actually did it himself, though. Someone helped him. That's just what it is.
I think the other problem is he's a narcissist. Narcissists just don't kill themselves. They just never kill themselves. What was the other guy? The guy who did the antivirus? We did a fucking program with his
What about the plane that crashed with all the Oh, this is a great one, too. In Brazil. Oh, this is great. They're all cancer research doctors. Ready for this? That have cures for cancer. What do you think happened to the plane, guys? Oh, it magically went down. Wow, they're all dead. Oh, really? Wow, what a coincidence. And the 8 doctors didn't make it on the plane. They would have been dead, too. These are all master.
And, Epstein, was he in the same prison that you were in?
Yes. If you think about a lot of things when it comes to when it comes to money with the government, you're going to die. They don't give a fuck what you release. As long as it ain't about their money and messing up their money, you're going to die. There's so many crazy scenarios where, like, Hillary Clinton, I remember the lady was coming out. She was writing a book on Hillary and Bill, and then all of a sudden she magically gets shot and thrown in the water. I mean, it's just like, why would somebody shoot this lady that worked for the White House? Shoot her and throw her in the water. It's just like, some of these scenarios just sound just so insane that you're just like, and it's never talked about.
Yeah, I was just thinking about John McAfee.
Oh, yeah.
That's a weird one. That's
They're all weird.
John McAfee, he came out saying, look, if I end up unaliving myself, he's like, it's not because I did it. He's like, because he was about to be,
100%.
you remember that? He was about to be indicted. No, he's indicted. He was about to be brought back to the United States. And he was saying, they know if I get brought back there, what I'm going to say. And I'm going to expose all of this, all of that.
Bro.
And then within like the next day, he was dead.
The water guy does it for me. The guy that created the car on water shows you everything. You don't do what they want. They fucking poison him at a meeting in broad daylight. With the people sitting at the table, killed him right at the table. You could look it up. It's a real story. He literally wouldn't take the money from the billionaire tycoons, and they fucking killed him, bro. It's that simple. You mess with money, that's it. You're gone. That's it. It's just what it is. You know? Think about CIA agents signing their life over to them because they don't exist. When you go over to countries and you get captured, they don't claim you.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's all fucked up. They don't care.
What do they call it? The knock list?
They don't care about you. It's crazy. This world we live in is really nuts. And they talk about, inhumane. They're inhumane. That's the fucked up part. A human life to them is a cockroach. You know what I mean? So it's really, the world is really fucking weird, man, to me. I believe a lot of conspiracy theories are real. Aliens are real. This is all real.
I think that the more time goes on, the more being exposed for sure. Not all of them are real, but I do believe a lot of them are
JFK,
real.
where'd he get shot from?
Reasonable. Well,
Did he shoot him? It shows the guy shot him in the front seat.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen that one. I'm dying to see what the files show. I don't think it was one shooter. I think it was multiple.
What about the 9/11 files?
Shooters.
They're talking about that's worse than anything. They're saying the 9/11 files is actually worse than. They're saying the 9/11 files is going to have America furious. How about that?
Are they saying they're going to release?
Are they going to
those?
release them?
I don't even know if they can. It'll probably cause a fucking riot
seen
because they're saying that the 9/11 files is worse than everything they have.
There was a clip on the inauguration day where they're saying we're going to release these Epstein files, JFK files, and they never said 9/11 files. And there's like a video of
They
Bush
can't show
just
it.
raising
They're
his
saying that.
eyebrows.
I guess it's going to cause like an uproar. They're saying that the FBI director said that the 9/11 files is the worst thing of them all. That the JFK thing is not what you think. He was saying that.
Right.
But the 9/11 is bad.
Do you think anything significant is going to come of?
I don't think they can release the 9/11 files.
or the
No,
Epstein or JFK, because the Epstein supposedly was just supposed to be released Friday.
And they release bullshit.
Yeah,
It's like bullshit. I don't think they can. I think the names on it are so bad. I don't know. It goes. I mean, when you start talking about the names that might be on it, you're going to bring down the system. I don't know if they could do it. I don't know how ruthless Donald Trump could get. I mean, to a point where, they might have to take some people out. This is getting like, they're exposing too many secrets. I don't know. I don't know how this goes. I'm not one of them, but I can tell you what our life you're going.
I wonder. I was thinking about. Well, actually, my wife and I were talking about this the other day, and I was thinking, I wonder, like, at what point does this? What do they call it? The dark state or the deep state? That at what point, assuming there is a deep state, and I don't know that there's an actual organization that is. It's not like they all get together, but I do believe in the idea that not all participants of a conspiracy have to know one another in order, as long as all of their interests align. So I think that if there's a deep state, at what point do they say Trump is such an issue for us, he has to go? And if you do
They
that,
tried that already.
But if you do, I'm saying if you really get together and you do that, you can't just get rid of Trump. You have to get rid of Vance. You have to get rid of a whole bunch of people that Trump went through. And instead of putting normal people in the government, he pulled those people out and he put people that were only loyal to him. So that means you basically have to go with Trump, with the president, the vice president, FBI director. You have to go through, and there's got to be 30 people that you have to take out at the same time. How is that possible?
You can't. But and I think they might know their limits at some point, maybe.
Where we just have to grin and bear
I think
it.
so. I'm not saying I know everything, and I don't. I'm just saying I just think there's limits where, like Elon Musk said, I don't want to get killed.
Yeah.
And he's talking real talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about it. How powerful he is. For him to say, I think that I could be in danger if I really told what we've uncovered.
Yeah.
And let's face it, he's basically saying, like, look, my job is to
these
try
guys have hit teams that work for them. Like, and I'm not trying to sound like a movie thing. You know that Hillary Clinton them and have like, not mercenaries, but like Navy SEALs, people like that work for them, trained killers. Not saying that they do hits for them, but
they're a security
that's
detail.
What they do, they done it in the military. Like, they're killers. That's what they do. So if something needs to happen, you have trained mercenary killers coming for you. You're going to die.
It's March, which means spring travel plans are in full swing. Don't get caught off guard while away from home. Make sure you pack the travel-friendly medical kit from The Wellness Company. No need to deal with the hassle of sickness because this compact blue case is your portable urgent care. Stocked with ivermectin, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, and 6 other essential prescription medications right at your fingertips. With The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit, you can tackle serious health concerns without worrying about urgent care, especially when you're far from home. This kit cuts through the red tape by allowing you to take control of your health versus being reactive and inconvenienced. You don't need a gatekeeper because their medical board created a guidebook that outlines common treatments for UTIs, strep throat, bacterial infections, respiratory illness, and more. All it takes is filling out a digital intake form and your kit arrives at your door in 1 to 2 weeks. Order your kit now by heading to twc.health/Cox and use promotion code COX to save up to $30 plus free shipping. That's twc.health/Cox and use promo code COX to save up to $30 plus free shipping. Kits available to U.S. residents only.
You understand? So it's like these are the people that are put around them as their bodyguards, as the people that work for them. So if they want you gone, you're gone. They'll shoot you from 800 miles away on a fucking direct hit in your head if they really want you gone. You know that, right? From 1,000 miles away, sorry.
I don't know about 1,000 miles,
yes,
but
it is.
I hear you. But I hear you.
It's on record. It's 1,000. They'll shoot you from they'll shoot you from 10 football fields away right in your face. And that's if they want you gone. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? So I believe if you do too much,
something happens.
Something happens. Hillary Clinton had 45 next to her. Do you know that? Look into it. Seems a little coincidental, but not going to get into that. It's crazy.
I understand there's a lot of very suspicious deaths around her and
45.
her husband.
I looked into it. 45.
Okay. Well,
45 people committed suicide next to her.
If it was 10, it's probably still pretty odd.
It's just insane. I mean, to me, those are I hate them the most, that family. I hate them. Despise them, everything about them. But they're gangsters. That's what they are. They're the sixth family. I call the Clintons the sixth family. They should have been part of the mafia. And, seriously. And I always said this. I always wanted to know one brain I wish I could have for a day is George Bush Sr.
Oh, yeah,
he knows
head of the
every
CIA.
secret ever in America. Do you know he knows every secret? He was the head of CIA for 30 years. He had the highest clearance in the world. For the country.
Right.
He knows. He probably hung out with a fucking alien. How about that? All right, in the ship. Okay, I would love to know what he knows.
So there used to be like a thing where people would go around and they say, if you could spend a day talking to one person, who would it be? I used to say George Bush Sr.
Well, I mean, if
only because of the CIA.
I would say if he tells me everything.
And you have a complete candid conversation.
If he was able to sit like this with me privately and tell me all the secrets, you would just be mortified because the things that he knows is probably like, I remember they were saying he was bringing drugs. They were catching Pablo Escobar's guys in submarines, bringing drugs over. The CIA was blatantly killing the cartel guys and taking the drugs.
Right.
Like, they all know that. Like, he was robbing the drug dealers. Like, their shit is so crazy. You know what I mean? So, like, they're gangsters to me. That's what they are. In suits. They are. They're just the government. They're gangsters. That's what they are. They're the real gangsters.
That's what you need to do is have a studio where you go in and just talk about. If you just talked about. Listen to him. If you talked about current topics, current things that are happening, just like you were like, no, that happened a long time ago. Well, you already know that guy got indicted. You already know all about it.
Yeah.
So
that's my old boss.
Right. So I'm saying.
Bring it up. You could bring it. Listen, bring up anything you think is good.
No, I'm not saying bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you set something up just like this in a spare room.
Yeah. And
you set it up, and as topics come up, you do a video, and you're like, I know so and so.
Here's the thing, Matt. Though I'm not burnt out because I don't have a show. If you see a lot of these guys, they're getting burnt the fuck out. And the mob genre, I'm keeping it alive with beefing with people and doing the things I do. But other than that shit is dead.
No, Gene, it's not dead.
It's dead. It's only me, Mike, and France. It's only me, Mike, and Sammy keeping up numbers right now. If you look at everyone's numbers, they're horrible.
I understand that. Okay.
Dominic Sicali's numbers are horrible. Jimmy Calandra's left. He's horrible. John Panisi's like Mr. Rogers. Horrible. Boring. No one listens to these guys. They're all horrible. The only ones you got is Sammy, Mike, and me. That's it. So I'm trying not to get burnt out. You know what I mean?
Okay. The difference is that Michael Franzese and Sammy the Bull are probably making $40,000 or $50,000 a month. Just
Sammy's doing more.
Every time I talk about anything, I'm conservative.
Yeah.
Let's say 40,000. Let's say it's 50.
Yeah.
50,000 a month.
Yeah.
Doing what? They sit down and fucking run their fucking mouth three times a week.
How about this?
Somebody else does all the work.
We talked about this last time. I was making triple what they were making a month just a couple of months ago.
What happened? You
blew it all.
Okay, so you're saying it's a lost cause to. I mean, I don't care.
No, I'm saying
Okay, I was gonna say I don't. It doesn't do anything for me.
I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, but I don't know. I have my TV show going on. That's what I really care about, and that's.
But you don't have it.
No,
yet.
I do have it.
You will have it.
I was just. All right, so
but right now you have the time to
so
do
how
this.
about this? I'll be real with you. NBC offered me $1.6 million the other day. I told them no. That's where I'm at.
With
NBC offered me $1.6 million.
Right.
And I told him no. You want to know why? They wanted to make a character gay. They wanted to take the sex and the violence out of it.
So I'm not taking that. Who cares?
No.
Who
Yeah.
cares?
I was gonna
Okay?
say.
And they offered, hold on, they offered me one. I turned down.
Right.
I turned down. That's how dedicated I am to my shit, and I know what I got. On my grandpa's grave, my partner, $1.6 million to give to me. Anybody would have took that. They're not making. They wanted to make my character like Fat Vito from Sopranos, that I had a gay interest, and they wanted to take out all my violence and sex.
Yeah. Well, I understand. I get that. That's,
What would you do?
No, I agree. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not
that's where
going
I'm
down
at.
it because the problem is.
Wait,
you're-
Matt, that's
you're
where
going,
I'm at.
The problem is and I think you're going down in history as that. So no, that's a no go. But my point is that your interaction or the effort that you would have to put it into an actual show, which let's say
Right.
they greenlit it right now,
Yeah.
wouldn't get off the ground for 6 months to a year if you're lucky. If all the planets align, it wouldn't be a year before you'd be on set going, yeah, that's right.
Well, here's the thing. What I want you to do is bring this up, and I'm gonna bomb them anyway right now, NBC, because I don't like what they did, and fuck them, because I told them you ruined my show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
I'm
ready?
rolling now. So
All right,
if-
perfect.
If everything you said is okay.
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
okay,
that's
this will
fine.
be out.
Yeah. So I turned down a lot of money
Yeah.
because I felt like they're trying to they're taking it and turning it into some Hollywood shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my goal is to go to where it has to go. HBO, Stars, Hulu, Netflix, which my lawyer, Douglas Anton, is one of the biggest federal attorneys in the country. He's
Right.
George Clooney's lawyer. That's my friend, and he wants me to succeed. He said, I'm going to get you in front of all these big people
Right.
with your partner, and somebody's going to take it. You NBC wanted it. They wanted the show, except they were going to turn it into a fucking fudge packer show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're trying to
And I wasn't allowing it.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
and I understand, and I understand that because, most people, take the money, but the truth is that look, you've had money before. Whether you're going to be able to do something with it or not, who knows?
Right.
But the bottom line is this: the money's one thing, but me having to be 60 years old, or my kids eventually having to look back and seeing this, and they're saying, well, they're portraying your dad as a gay guy. They're portraying this. They've
Right.
they've twisted a bunch of weird shit into it, and then your kids for the rest of their lives are going, no, but that's not what happened. They did that up. So I get saying, hey, it's in a way, even though it's probably not a great legacy that you want, you're not a politician or a lawyer, but it's still your legacy.
But think about this.
I
My
get
life
that.
was based off violent sex, money, murder. I mean, I hate to say that's what most of our lives are based off, that work, the department that I worked in.
Right.
How the fuck are you going to take that out the TV show?
Well, they're
What
trying-
is
I think
what is
there's-
it going to be? Step It Up 3? We break dancing, motherfucker? What am I, a dancer? I don't understand. What am I in the mob for? Because I could dance good? Like, what was I there for? You're trying to take a show and turn it into a soap opera.
Yeah,
Horrible.
I was gonna say, what are they trying to? Was
can't
it
do
like
no-
a 30-minute?
No, I'm trying to. I don't understand.
show? Like,
so
what
I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, the mob boss has recruited me because he was a good dancer. He dances good. Check him
Right.
out. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was good at what I did. So how are you gonna turn my show into that? So I was furious because they had us on the phone for 8 fucking hours. 8 hours. 8 hours talking to the biggest people in that studio. Okay, we want to do it. We want to do it. We have to. But this is what we want to do. And we're like, no.
Right.
Why would we do such a thing? There's nothing to do with my show. Oh, well, The Sopranos had a gay character. We don't. What do you mean? That's not what we're doing.
Yeah. Great. Then make one of my buddies have a gay interest, but not me.
I told them, read my book. It's a New York Times bestseller. I sold over 20,000 copies. You know how hard it is for a book to sell?
Yes,
that's not.
I do.
That's so hard. For me to sell that, many, and then plus thousands of autographed copies I sell from my Instagram. I've sold tons of books. That's very hard. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that the story isn't good. Every single producer that reads this script loves it. We had I could say his name now. It don't matter because we're not dealing. I had Edward Bernardo reach out to me. He's a fucking one of the biggest producers in the country. He's working on a Marvel film right now. He reached out to me and read my book and watched my podcast. I love this stuff. He goes, but I'm working on Marvel. Can you wait? I says, no. He's working on a fucking Marvel film right now. All right? That's who wanted my thing. So I'm like, why would I sell out and do this when I have, look, the kind of people that are coming at me. He created Criminal Minds. So this guy wanted my shit. He loved it, but he says, I'm on Marvel. That's $1 billion project.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I'm ready for you, I want your project though. I want to do it. I'm like, I can't wait. I've been waiting 3 years. Like, I've been working on COVID, back me up, everything. Now it's time. So now we have Douglas getting us in front of all these good people that now my partner could just, present it and, get this thing rolling. Because I don't want to wait no more.
Right.
That's just it.
All right. I hear you.
Yeah.
Listen, I was on a Zoom call. So I don't think I've probably gotten as close as you've gotten, right? Because I haven't gotten to the deal part, where it's actually where they're actually offering you money. How much is the budget? How much is this? You get 3% of this, 2% of that. Well, I haven't got to that point. What I've gotten to is the point where I've flown out to LA. I've gone to the production companies, had the meetings. I've only had one. Well, I've had 2 meetings like in person where we sat down at the table with them. One, we were sitting down, they were on a Zoom.
Right.
And then I've countless ones where it's basically a remote conversation where everybody's there, there's talking, you're talking. But you're right. It'll, and a lot of times, and we talked about this a couple of years ago when you did the podcast, you were like, oh, it's a done deal, and I was sitting there thinking, bro, you know how many times I've heard it? It's a done deal.
Well, we got caught up with the Warner Brothers guy, and he works for Warner Brothers, and that's why we didn't care about nobody else, because when he reached out to you, we're like, oh, we're golden.
Yes, son.
But he's like, I'm working on Marvel, so that's the problem. When we're ready for you, I want you. He watched all my This guy, you can't get him on Zoom. If you try to, it takes 6 months. He called us.
Right.
Think about that. He's one of the biggest producers around. He worked with every big celebrity there is, and he personally told me that I couldn't have Channing Tatum and. Not Channing Tatum, Shia LaBeouf. He says, no, he's the worst. He's a head case. I says, what do you mean? That's why I want to play me.
Nobody wants to work with him.
That's why I wanted to play me. They asked me 10 names to play me, and I picked him 10 times.
So it's not
I
good.
put his name down 10 times. They're like, no. I'm like, yes, this is who I want. Shia LaBeouf. This is who I want.
The problem.
I actually talked to Shia LaBeouf's best friend. I spoke to his team, and they says, yeah, man, I'm sure he would love this. He was on a retreat when I contacted him. He goes and he's crazy.
Yeah.
So he disappears for months. So I'm like, all right. He's like, Mom, I'm telling you, he would love this because he wanted to play Paulie Guns in the Bat Dab story. Remember the Bat Dab boys?
Yeah.
He wanted to play Paulie Galino.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Nobody wants to work with him because he does disappear for 3 fucking months at a time.
Right. So he wanted to play a character that's just like me. So if you know Jimmy Calandre's story, his best friend is Paulie Galino. He's a killer, psycho out of Brooklyn, and he was a very known figure all over the internet. They killed him, obviously. Tommy Reynolds and Joey Calico shot him in the head for the mob bosses. He pushed our boss, just put his hands on him, and they killed him. Whatever. So Shia LaBeouf reached out to him and says, I want to play Paulie Galino. I'll put my own money into it. I'll put $500,000 into this. I'm going to put the script in and $500,000 on it and see what happens. But Jimmy Calandre's a hard head. He ruined it. And that's why it didn't happen. So I heard that. I'm like, all right, I'm a Paulie Galino.
Right.
Let's see if he wants to play me. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I jumped on it, So like I said, I talked to so many big people and things like that. My friend Dominic already agreed that if it gets casted, he's in Tulsa Kings. He's the main star in Tulsa Kings besides Sylvester Stallone. He said he'll play Ronnie if it gets cast, if he gets the show.
The problem with Hollywood is that everybody, and it's the same thing over every time I've had the conversations. You have the initial conversation, they're super excited. Then they want to talk to their team. I'm gonna approach we have a meeting with the team next week, and they're gonna talk to the team. Then they talk to the team, and you get hey, the team loves it. Right. And then we got to talk to Sally or Jennifer at fucking Netflix, and we talked to her in 2 weeks from now, and it just goes on and on and on, and then eventually you have another Zoom meeting. And then that goes on for an hour and a half where they ask you all these questions. And in the first few times I've had the meetings, I felt like, wow, they're really interested. By the 10th meeting, they're asking you the questions, and I'm just staring at them like, yeah. No, that's because I'm thinking this is such a waste of fucking time.
Yeah,
it's the same thing
you're right.
over.
You're right, but I with me, I'm very how I want it. Like there's no negotiating.
Right.
Because I told them this is what I have, this is what I bring to the table. I have what nobody has. A modern day mafia story. I'm the only one that could give this to you. Of all the stuff that I have, I was basically a guy that you don't see guys like me no more for the mob. You won't. They don't exist no more. And I could give you just the whole neighborhood, which is the biggest mafia soap opera neighborhood in the country. Howard Beach, Queens is the most organized crime neighborhood there is. So, and that's the heart and soul of mafia. And I told him I bring that to the table along with over 100 million views on the internet, a best-selling book. I have a big social media presence, and this is what I want, and this is what I want to do. A lot of them are like, oh my God, we love it. But a lot of them are very skeptical with the violence and things like that. So it has to go to certain stations. You can't put it on regular TV.
Yeah. No, it's
I
got to
have
be. It's
nothing
got to
but
be
violence.
HBO.
It's got to be HBO. I told my partner it cannot be NBC.
Yeah.
They want it, but we can't do it with them because look what they just did. They wanted to turn it into a stupidest show ever. So it has to be with like 50 Cent or those crew, like those kind of people, because then anything goes. You know what I mean? Then you could do exactly what I want to do with the show. So like I says, every single day, my partner is on it every day with people, talking to people every day, and the lawyer. So we'll see what happens,
Yeah, I hear you. I mean,
HBO, a producer from HBO reached out to us. They want to do a reality show with us, with the ex-mob guys, right? So I was on the phone with her, me, Johnny, Eli, all of us, and they want to do a reality show with us.
That might be pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
so,
That might be
and I
interesting.
said, but it's always the same ones that they come at. They don't want nobody else but me, Johnny, Mike, Francis, and Sammy. That's the only ones they want. Anybody else they don't care about. They're like, no one care about those guys. We want you guys. Oh, it's always us.
Okay, here's the problem with what I think with that is that Michael Francis has too much money, and he's honestly, and as nice, I liked him.
Right.
I met him.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's old.
71.
He's 71 years old. He don't want to fuck with this.
I told him that.
Right. And Sammy the
Sammy's
Bull,
80 years old. I told him no. I said that. So it would just be me and Johnny, and I think, like I said, she loves.
they're not going to have the energy you guys are going to have.
I do, and they know that, and I'm a ball of energy. And I told him, it'll be cool. But like I said, I told him I'm working on so many other things that I want to do with my story, and that would be cool too. But she said she's going to pitch it to them. She wants to do it. This lady, she's worked for them for 20 years. She's sold many shows and things, and she wants to do it with me. And
Well, there aren't any other guys that are getting out of prison or that are currently hitting.
Yeah, but you gotta understand. Like I'm trying to tell you this, you gotta really look at the internet lately. There's so many ex-mob guys coming out, and they're just not getting views.
Right.
It's just you gotta have the it factor. You gotta have it. Like I said, me and Johnny did it at the right time, and I just have a huge fan base, and it stuck with me, and it just keeps growing. You know what I mean? And I think it's because how disrespectful I am and the way I act. I think that's more or less my advantage. You know what I'm saying? I just say anything.
Yeah. Well, Johnny A. He brings in views. He has a vastly different.
He's a worldwide. He's really known to the world. I mean, I'm not even bullshitting you. Like if you go everywhere you go, this guy gets stopped. It's hysterical. Everywhere you go, he's known. In Europe, forget it. He's like a rock star.
With Johnny A. Did you know him like prior to going in? How did you guys get connected?
A. Reached out to him when he got out.
Yeah.
He got him on Vlad.
Of course. Well, you got to understand. So when I came out, Johnny knew I was going to be big because my case was so big. See, you're not from New York, so if you knew how big my case is, where we're from, I was on the people I worked for are like the biggest guys in the areas. So when my boss beat that Latanza Heist case, which is the biggest trial in the country at the time, it was found not guilty on charges. I brought him back on charges. He just walked out of prison. I got him back on charges. So yeah, and this is like the most high profile guy around at the time. So think about Goodfellas, the Latanza heist. That's his robbery. So that's what it was on the paper every day. It had more media attention than any mafia case in the history of organized crime.
Did you ever see Goodfellas?
No.
Oh my God.
But we did break down the scene in a video that we did.
Okay, so it was the biggest airport heist in American history.
Yeah.
$7 million was taken, and he did that. And they killed a lot of people, and he beat everything, the murders, the heist, everything. So that was in 2014, he was locked up. And I never forget this, and I never said this, but I'll say it here today. The last time I spoke to Vinnie, he was locked up, and I was in the street, and he called me from the feds, and this is on wiretap, obviously, conversation. And I was talking to him, and he goes, Gene, go help my girlfriend move her furniture and everything out the house for me. I said, yeah, no problem. I said, don't worry, Vinny, you're going to come home. He goes, you throw shit against the wall, some of it's going to stick.
Right.
That's the last thing he ever said to me. That's the last time I ever spoke to him, the last thing he ever said to me. He goes, you throw shit against the wall, some of it's going to stick. Like, in other words, there's no way I'm beating this.
Yeah.
And he beat it. He beat all the murders. He beat the robbery and everything. So think about where that puts me. Then Ronnie G, who's one of the biggest earners in the 5 boroughs, who's making $400,000 a month. This guy's a multimillionaire, vicious, violent guy. I'm his right-hand man. So now I'm cooperator. Now I have this huge case. I'm all over Gangland. I'm all over the news. I come out, and then I'm going for Vlad TV.
Right.
I'm the only modern-day guy ever to come out. Of course it's going to be all over me. Johnny A. Light was smart. He knew what he was doing, and it created a frenzy. You know what I mean?
What about, so your boss, your old boss, is he out yet? Or is he
He's
in the
dead
halfway?
now.
Vinny
died.
No, I'm talking
about
this guy.
That's him. That's Vinny.
Oh, yeah. No, he died.
He died. Ronnie gets out in 2029.
Oh, 2029?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We talked about it last time.
Yeah.
I was saying I thought he was getting out. And you were like, no, that's not true.
2029.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be out. He still has some years left. But yeah, he was a real tough guy, vicious guy. He's exactly your size. No, but
He's tiny.
yeah, but no, but he packs a fucking
Right.
deadly punch and a slap. I've seen him knock people out with slaps, cold. So I'm saying like vicious, tough guy, and just a multimillionaire. You know, 7th grade education, can't read or write, but he can make money. You know, he had that like. When people just get lucky and fall ass backwards into money all the time,
Right.
He's just one of those guys that just always gets lucky and just makes tons of money.
That's kind of makes me think of Michael Franzese. Like everybody's like, Michael Franzese did this and this and this, but really somebody came to him with the scam.
Right.
And said, this is what we're doing.
Well, the 5 Families was in on that.
Right.
It wasn't
Do you
just
want,
him. Yeah.
Right. Do you want in on this?
Right.
And he said yes. He just kind of McDonaldized it, turned it into this massive, made it a lot
Right. He
larger.
was Mike's a very, very, very smart guy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and so was Sammy. Sammy was a powerhouse moneymaker as well. Sammy Guevara in the 80s had millions of dollars. Sammy Guevara had $5 million in the 80s. That's like 50 million now. More.
Why-
You know what I'm saying?
So when Sammy the Bull got out, right? So he gets out.
Yeah.
They move him, witness protection, move him to Arizona. Why start up again?
I don't even know.
You know?
I don't know. I mean,
I wonder if anybody's ever asked him.
I don't know.
Like, why would you?
I think I think he claims that like it really wasn't what they made it. It was like they made it big because it was his name, but it really wasn't a big ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it was more or less the son that was getting in trouble, and he just got caught up in it. I don't think he was really like the ringleader, like they were saying.
Sean Atwood is.
Oh, the boxer.
No, Sean Atwood. He has a UK. He's in the UK. He has a true crime channel.
I think so. Maybe.
Bald white guy.
English.
Did I do a show with him? I might have.
You might have.
I don't know. Go ahead. What happened?
Anyway, he's always said that he was a part of that. His competition in Arizona was Sammy.
Could be.
And initially Sammy came out. I was like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah,
I don't know who this guy is.
And that's the crazy part.
But now he's saying he does. So I'm saying now he's like, oh, okay, I think he was dealing with my son. He's like, I think he might. I don't really know. Initially denied it, but now they're actually doing some kind of a documentary together.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with this entertainment world right now because it's becoming WWE, and
Right.
that's what you got to be careful with the podcast world. That's why I keep it genuine and real. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are. I had people contact me to give fake scenarios to put them in it to get them relevant. I'm gonna be real with you, and I won't do it.
Right.
Because I'm not lying. Everything I say, and that's why everyone loves me, is I keep it genuine. Like they want to use me to become famous now off being a criminal. I know the ones that are valid and the ones that ain't. I had guys reach out to me, like, oh, I know you from so-and-so. I don't know you. I never did nothing with you. Oh, you don't remember? I seen you in the park hit. So I said a lot of people see me in the park hit people with things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know what goes on in the podcast world right now today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like becoming wrestling.
It's like clout chasing.
It's becoming WWE, like scripted. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not doing that. So I keep it 100 and genuine. So I don't know who's real and who's not. I mean, I know who is real and who's not, basically.
Well, I mean, Sean Atwood, he definitely went to prison. So I mean, I know
you
he
go
went
to prison. That don't mean you're a gangster.
Yeah. But I don't. But and he says, well, initially Sammy was like, I don't really know who that is. But the truth is, honestly, I know lots of people that if you said, hey, so and so, I'd be like, I don't know who that is.
Right.
And if the guy walked in, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I do remember you. So I'm bad with names.
No, yeah, it could be real, it could be not, but who knows? But Sammy's for the most part tells her how it is. If you hang out with him, he's still Sammy Guevara. I don't know if you know that. Like he's like still like vicious.
Right.
Like he didn't lose his viciousness. He'll say on his show he looks all nice and pleasant, but like don't fuck with him. He's old, but he's still wild. You know what I mean? We were at a Beverly Hills party. He went off on somebody. Yeah, he's still he's still a little nuts. Johnny Eli too. Johnny Eli, when he's healthy, he'll knock you out. Like Johnny's tough.
Yeah.
Real tough.
What is he doing?
He travels all over the place.
Okay.
He's on a world tour right now. They cut him on the cover of magazines.
I know, but for what? What's he doing?
They love this guy. I don't know.
I mean, is he doing like, he goes places and tells his story?
Yeah,
or
talks to kids. He does a lot of advocating and all that stuff. He lost his daughter to drugs and stuff like that. And the shit got her, It was in a fucking Xanax, bro. Yeah, she took a pill, Xanax to go to sleep and never woke up again. That's horrible. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's like super close to me. You know what I mean? He was very close. So he gets a lot of attention out in the country. In the countries.
So I have a question and we were talking about this and I think I had some misinformation or it turned into something that it wasn't, but that there's a bunch of articles that right now, so El Mayo was grabbed by El Chapo's, one of his sons. and flown into where was it? Was he flown into Miami or Texas? Anyway, I forget. But so he was flown in there, like they kidnapped him. Basically, they kidnapped him, put him on a plane, and flew him in. He's currently in. Is he in New York, where you were?
Zambada Garcia was transferred yesterday to the Eastern District of New York.
Oh, yeah, he's where I am. MDC Brooklyn.
Yeah, and that's what I thought Pete
He's
had
in
said.
MDC
This was
Brooklyn.
in July.
I don't know if
He said he's in the shoe. Pete said he.
Yeah, they're not going to let him out of the shoe.
Yeah.
He's too powerful.
Yeah. How old is he?
Got to be 60-something years
No,
old.
he's got to be in his 80s.
I don't
He's
know.
got to be in his 80s.
Well, no,
70s, 80s.
his son Henry was like my age, a little older. So yeah, he's probably 70, maybe 70.
77.
Yeah.
77. So he's 77. So an article came out that said he was currently in plea negotiations with the U.S. attorney in New York. And I had heard, although I'm going to tell you, I did not see the article. I had heard from someone that said, as like a good faith gesture, he had said, and there may be an article about it, I just didn't see it, but he had told the U.S. attorney, because they're in plea negotiations right now, that Zambada's lawyer, through his lawyer, had told the U.S. attorney that not the current president, the female president of Mexico, but the past two presidents of Mexico were on his payroll.
Right.
Now, I think everybody probably believes that, knew that anyway. I don't think that's huge information.
Most corrupt country in the world. Yeah.
Right. But the fact that he said, hey, like, can he prove that? Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
These guys are fucking getting killed so fast all the time. How
America will lock them up if they do, because I was with the Attorney General of Mexico. They locked him up.
Right.
He was right under the people you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they locked him up.
Oh, they locked up the Attorney General in
They don't care.
In in Colombia they locked. No, not Colombia.
What do you mean? The president of Honduras. I was with him.
Oh, wait, what's the other guy?
Yeah.
No, wait, where's Juan from? El Salvador, Juan from.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they locked up that U.S.
They don't
attorney,
care.
but they only locked him up for about 3 years because he gave him so much information. Then they let him go.
Right, and that's what they're all doing. You know what I mean? And
So what do you think the chances are that El Mayo?
well, El Mayo ordered a lot of murders. So
Yeah.
I was with a guy named Lobo. Lobo, and I'm not lying to you. Lobo was a hitman for El Chapo.
Okay.
He was cooperating, but he had 15 life sentences. He was trying to get them off.
That's tough.
No, he had
tough.
300 murders on his indictment.
I'm saying that's tough.
Yeah, he had 300 murders on his indictment. That I'm not saying he killed 300 people, but his team was a part of. So El Chapo had to stop paying him per body because it started getting so expensive. So he said he just put him on a monthly salary, and this is real. So they were killing so many people for him. So they're savages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's horrible, and some of them are not. People they're killing are women and children as well.
Yeah. No, they'll take a whole family and put them
And
in
that's why I
a vat of
realized this
acid.
guy just should not come back out. You know, that the crimes are fucking heinous. And I mean, the way they're killing these women and children, they're videotaping, doing horrible things to them, then sending it to their rivals. You don't understand how horrible it is. So he was trying to get out, and they wouldn't let him out. He was cooperating on everything he knew. Certain federal things would not give him a deal. He just lives in Woodstock for the rest of his life.
Right.
Because they wouldn't let him out because, he's chopping up kids.
Right.
Hanging them from bridges, just crazy shit. You don't belong to come out. I don't give a fuck who you tell on.
Right.
You know what I mean? With the mob, a lot of times we kill each other.
Yeah.
And they don't really care about letting you back out. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not killing a little girl going to school or kidnapping the wife, chopping her up and videoing it and sending it to you.
So what do you think so what about El Mayo? What's the best deal he could get?
All right, so I'm going to be honest with you.
Because he's guilty. He's not going to trial and winning.
You see, Joe Messino was in the same predicament he was, and they said, all right, you'll cooperate, but you'll never get out, but you'll live in the jail. They ended up giving him 13 years because he told on so much stuff. Joe Messino is big as El Mayo in our world. So they said the same thing about Joe. He would never get out again, but he did. So you never know, but he had 22 murders, Joe Messino. He ordered 22 murders, and he ruled the family for years, and they let him out again. But with El Mayo's situation is they kill civilians.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would let them back. I don't know. It's like cartel guys do get deals, but when you're that powerful as a cartel, like I was with Frankie, he was the head of the Tijuana cartel, the brothers, the Felix brothers, I think they are. The Felix brothers. I was with one of the Felix, I believe it's Felix. They're the head of the Tijuana cartel.
Okay.
There's 3 brothers.
Okay.
And I was with one of them. And he got 25 years after cooperation, but he wasn't a murderer. He was just one of the brothers that ran the family, but they still gave him 25 years after cooperation.
Okay.
Think about that.
Right.
And he told on a lot. And
what's El Mayo? What's the benefit for El Mayo?
I don't see.
I think the only benefit,
he'll die in a prison that's laid back. I can't see them letting him out. He ordered probably thousands of murders.
Yeah,
no, thousands.
Well, what I'm saying is I think the best. So I think the best scenario for him is he gets to maybe pick a prison that's sweet.
Only 6 units.
You know what I'm saying?
There's only 6 units for that.
There's only 6 units.
There's only 6 units you go into. That's it. I'll name them: Minnesota, Florida, Allenwood, Farrington, Arizona. That's it.
It's 5. But
no, that was Farrington, Allenwood, Florida, Arizona, Minnesota, and there's one more. There's 6. That's it. You only got 6 units though.
Okay.
That's it. It's through the country. You can only go to 6 units.
His fear is probably
Otisville.
He's going to end
up.
And
Otisville has one.
His fear is probably he's going to end up in ADX. That's probably his fear.
Well, if he's cooperating, he won't.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's probably why he's saying, "Hey, look, can you keep me out of here? Can you get me into this prison?"
And wait, there's also problems because I remember when Frankie, that's the name of the head of Tijuana cartel. So they killed his brother at a birthday party dressed up as a clown at the kid's birthday party. Okay, this is real stories. I know it sounds crazy. This is real stories, guys.
It doesn't sound crazy because I've looked into enough of this shit.
They tried to bring the guy into our units that had his brother killed. And he wouldn't accept him in because you have to, when you come into the units, they give you a picture of the guy coming in and everyone got to put their initials on it saying, do you know this guy? Do you accept him? Frankie wouldn't accept him. Right. He killed his brother. Right. Had his brother killed at a birthday party, dressed up as a fucking clown. Right. This is crazy. And then he wouldn't accept him in. So with El Mayo, he has so many enemies in that cartel world. You got to hope that they even accept him into the jails. Some people are like, oh, I'm not living with him. He killed my relatives. Mm-hmm. That's what happens a lot of times. And you get stuck in the hole. So until you can actually go into a unit because they say, all right, you have separations with this guy, you have separations with this guy. With a person like him, you might have a lot of separations. That happens a lot with the mob bosses too. They don't want certain mob guys with certain mob guys because if their cases aren't done yet either, you don't want them talking. So they'll put separations on you. Yeah. So with El Mayo, I don't know even if they could put him in those units. He might have so many separations and so many people that work for him. They might not want him in there. So he might be totally screwed regardless. I don't know. I don't know the outcome with that. He's too powerful. I don't know. It's going to be a fucked up situation for him. You know? You have to be accepted into units by the peers as well.
Yeah. I don't know I wonder how they can figure that out in order for him to continue to cooperate. Because they want him. Or do they just fuck him? Like, damn well how many times
have they said... Do you know how many years it's going to take for him to get sentenced anyway? With all the things, years.
If he's cooperating, that's
I know
10
guys
years.
that waited 7-8 years to get sentenced.
Yeah, he'll probably
because they have so much trials they have to do and so many things. They'll keep you in there like that just to fuck you because they know you're a savage. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they do. I've seen guys wait years just to get sentenced.
How many guys? How many people would be extradited from Mexico?
Yeah, it'd be impossible. I mean,
that's 10 years.
I was with his son. Listen, if you met his son was like harmless. But got 14 years for no reason. He cooperated. He actually experiment. Yeah. So this is the story. I said this before. They called his father. He called his father and asked if he cooperate, and they says he was okay. They said even El Chapo said it was okay for him to cooperate because everybody else was cooperating on him. So he got, I think, 15 years. Me and him got sentenced together. So I think he got 15 years, and he went back to California. That's where he was living with his family, and he has billions of dollars.
He's the one that they caught in Mexico with the lawyer, right? Luna or something. They were actually giving information to the
Flores twins brought them in.
Yeah, but
my buddy Margarito got him.
Right, but I'm saying they were giving information. The head of the cartel was giving information through his son. First, it was through a lawyer. Then they switched it to the son. They're giving him information on their rivals to take out the rivals, and they ended up just by accident grabbing him.
They had it all over the news. They had him on the thing. You know what I mean? So he, like I said, these guys are multi-billionaires, not even millionaires.
Yeah. So he paid a bunch of money too. Didn't he pay over like whatever $100 million or $200 million?
Yeah, who knows?
Which is nothing.
It's dollars and cents to them. You know, I remember they told me a story one time with El Chapo's guys that the Mexican cops raid them to steal their monies to fight them. Mm-hmm. So what they do instead of letting them steal the money, they burn it. They burn $250 million in a warehouse, not to give it to them. You know how sick that is? It's in the indictment. It's in the indictment. They burned, and everybody was stuffing their clothes with the money.
Everybody needs a good pair of jeans. What I like about the perfect jean is that the moment you put them on, they feel like sweatpants. They don't ever pinch or bind up. As a matter of fact, They're super stretchy. There's never any point where you feel like they're binding up on you or they're tight or they pinch you or anything like that. They're comfortable in pretty much any position that you sit in. They're really great. They're comfortable and they look great. Normally, a good pair of jeans costs anywhere between $150 to $200, but the perfect jeans are reasonably priced at $79.99. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc or Google The Perfect Jean and use promo code COX15 for 15% off. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code COX15. Please support our channel and tell them we sent you. F your khakis. Get the perfect jeans.
They were telling me the story like they were trying to hold, and they burnt the money. They burnt like almost $250 million in cash. So the Mexican police can't get the money. Think about that. How sick that is. You know what I mean?
So regardless, you don't think El Mayo's got a chance, even if he cooperates. There's not going to be much.
You never know with the government, but as I've seen in history, when you have heinous crimes on children and women and raping and killing and hanging them and skinning them alive, I'm talking about the sickest things you'll see. They made a little girl. I seen one story. This is gonna break people's hearts. This story. They actually kidnapped one of the rival's daughters. I read this in paperwork, and they made believe they were gonna release her to the mother. So they pulled up to the mother, let the daughter run to the mother, and then shot the daughter in the fucking back, going to the mother.
They're just
like, what
fuckers.
is this? Like,
Yeah.
a 12-year-old girl machine gunned her down in front of the mother, made believe they were letting her go, like to taunt them, toy with them. That's in an indictment I had to read. I wanted to rip the paperwork and then beat them with it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know what I mean? They don't belong out. I don't care who you tell on. This is not like, this is heinous shit. This is like terrorism. You know what I mean? So I don't like it. You know what I mean? So that fucks with me. I don't feel like everyone should get a deal. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand. I'm just wondering.
These crimes are heinous. So a guy like that ordering these crimes should just be shot in the head, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but there's been so many mob bosses that have done horrible.
Killed women and children?
I don't know about
No.
women. I'm saying just in general,
Bad
murdering.
guys. It's wrong, but we're killing each other. We're not even allowed to hurt innocents. That's a crime in our world. You get killed for that. You can't hurt women and children. That's a no. That's what they believe in, to keep the order. We'll kill your family.
What's the difference between the mob and the cartels
I
as far as
I just told you.
as far as like the work they do and their kind of values and
Right.
rules?
So we don't sell drugs, but we do. But I'm saying we're not supposed to sell drugs, and no women, no children, no innocent people. Like my mom lives in Howard Beach still. That's the neighborhood I cooperate in. She walks the streets. They still say hello to her. It has nothing to do with them. You understand? With the cartels, they'd shoot her 80 times, throw grenades at the house because of what I did. That's the difference. My mother, my whole family could walk the streets and they'll say, "Hey, Donna, how you doing? Hey, what's going on?" And these are people I hurt. But with the cartels, they're shooting bazookas at you, your families.
With the cartel, they'll kidnap your entire
They'll
family.
kill the
Kill
goldfish, the cats, the dogs, everybody.
They'll put them in a vat of acid.
Yeah.
And they'll video the whole thing.
Right.
You being your daughter, your son being tortured to death.
And that's
then
where
send you the video.
And that's where it separates scum dirt to bad guys.
I can imagine the government getting all the information they want from him and then just double crossing him, because I see that happen
they've
just
done
on a regular basis.
Think about, you got to watch the thing on the cops that brought down El Chapo. They hated him. They said this guy. The cop was going, "I wanted to kill him." That's what they were saying, because they know the crimes that he has ordered.
Right.
And they were the investigators like, "You have no idea." Like they were saying, like, it was so hard for me not to just strangle him. These are the fucking agents talking, because the crimes are so heinous that they're finding women and children hanging from bridges.
Did you see the movie The Counselor?
No, which one was that? With who?
I'll send it to. I forget his name.
Oh, with Matthew McConaughey.
No, it's not. He looks like Matthew McConaughey.
I know the movie you're talking about.
Yeah. At the end, they kidnap his fiance.
Yeah.
And then he's calling up the cartel. He's saying, "Let me trade myself for her." They're like, "That's too late." Like
That's like Sicario.
And then one day he actually goes down there trying to find her, and they just kind of ignore him. And then one day, but they know where he is. They're watching him, and then they slip a fucking CD under the door, which he already knows what's on the CD.
Yeah.
They videoed the whatever horrific act they put up upon her.
And that's real. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's horrible. You know who is in that? Brad Pitt's in that. Not the main guy, but
I'll
he's
look it
one
up.
of the guys.
Yeah, so and that's what separates us. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was friends with the cartel guys. Like I said, Margarita Flores was my buddy. I was with him every day.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing that stuff. He was harmless. He was just a big money guy. He wasn't a killer or nothing like that. Super friendly guy. He was like I said, good guy. But he worked for people that were doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You were locked up with one of the two Flores.
Yeah, I was very close with Margarita. Margarita was a good guy.
Okay.
I got along with him very well. Yeah.
Yeah, they never did anything.
They weren't killers. They were totally against violence. They were just making more money than knew what to do with. You know what I'm saying? And they got screwed. They got 14 years.
Yeah. No, it's funny. 14 years in,
they should have got time served.
Took a bunch of fucking money. They
didn't hurt no. I feel like they shouldn't have got time. I feel like they should have got time served. They did a lot for them. The guy went to fucking Mexico and World Wire and El Chapo. Like, come on, man.
No, I'm saying they took a bunch of their money. Like they
could have find 60 million or something like that. Yeah.
They worked out a deal with them, and then the government
great guy. He took care of everybody in the
them.
units.
Yeah.
He was super generous. He used to take care of everybody in the units. He literally threw me a birthday party.
Right.
In the fucking me and him are 6 days apart. He's June 12th on the 6th.
Yeah.
He literally threw a birthday party and like fed the whole place. Like
Right.
that's how good-hearted he was. He's a great person. He literally had a guy on payroll. The guy had no money for his family,
Right.
and he would send his family $1,000 a month, and the guy would cook him food every day and meals to
Right.
make sure that he eats, and because he don't like to go to the kitchen, and he literally would send the guy's family $1,000, $2,000 a month to make them because they had nothing
Right.
to survive and just make me my meals every day. That's the kind of person he was, just helping them out. You know what I'm saying? He was a good-hearted fucking dude, man, for real.
Yeah. As opposed to most of the people he's dealing with.
Yeah, he was nothing. He's nothing like them. You know what I mean? Nothing like them.
Didn't his brother get kidnapped in Mexico?
For a month.
In
It was really
Mexico?
bad. Yeah. And that's how he met them because they didn't understand. And that's how I know the whole story. He told me it so many times. And I'll tell you a funny story he told me. He said that this is actually a funny one. I tell everyone this story. And if he's watching it, he'll laugh with me. He says that one time they were beefing with the gang members in Chicago. And I guess he told El Chapo he needed weapons. And El Chapo sent them down weapons. He thought he was going to have weapons. He opened it up. It was shoulder rockets. He sent them down a truck of shoulder rockets. He calls him back. Woody, I can't do nothing with this.
Right.
Missile launches in Chicago. Yeah, you had to send it back and give me guns, not rockets. That was funny. I used to laugh with him because he had crazy stories. They sent them down a truck full of shoulder rockets. Because in Mexico, that's what they use.
Oh, yeah, in Mexico. No,
So he's like, this is Chicago. We can't shoot
they're armed
shoulder.
like the military.
Can't shoot missiles at each other in Chicago. You know what I mean? That's great. The boxer fight, yeah. I'm trying to fight John Guy III, John Jr.'s son. He just fought Mayweather twice. He's a good fighter. He's an MMA fighter. He's not a boxer, but that's why I'd rather box him. MMA, I'm dead. You know what I mean? I just keep it real with you. Boxing, I don't think it'll be as bad. He's not really talented boxing wise. Roy Jones Jr. agreed to train me. He's a world champion, one of the greatest boxers of all time. I'll be with him tomorrow.
You're saying he fought Mayweather twice?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of numbers did that bring in? Where'd that fight
Huge.
happen?
Oh, it was all over pay. It was all over pay per view.
Yeah, but you guys, you and your buddy, you guys are like you're like, listen, no offense. I mean,
Yeah.
you're like really like regular guys. You watch
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. I don't watch
Right.
sports. I don't watch.
Right, so it's
you
huge.
guys are all right.
Fighting Mayweather is like the biggest thing you could do. But Mayweather was older and toying with him, but Mayweather's still Mayweather. But I called him out. We've been going back and forth a little bit on the internet. And Roy Jones, we had a lawyer reach out to John Jr.'s lawyer and try to arrange it. But the father's always a little jerk off and he always talks this rat stuff. Meanwhile, he's a rat, so it doesn't make sense. And literally,
Right.
and we're trying to arrange it. So when I'm with Roy Jones Jr., he's gonna, let it be known, the world know that he's in my corner and we're gonna fight. We're gonna train.
And so what's the status of that right now?
We don't know yet. Once he sees Roy Jones in my corner and sees how serious it is, then yeah. We want the money. We want the,
So tomorrow you're going to see Roy Jones and what?
we're gonna talk a lot of shit.
Where's that happening? Where are you going?
In Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives out here.
Yeah. So what about that indictment that we just pulled up?
The Joe Camarado Jr. indictment.
Yeah.
So basically, he was the acting. Mikey Knows put him in charge of the family in 2015, I want to say, and he was running the family, and they got indicted. Him and Porky and a bunch of guys that were running the family, and
What were they indicted for? Just
gambling,
racketeering?
Yeah, this typical fucking mafia shit. And they actually had the same lawyer as Vinnie Joe Camarado used the same lawyer as Vinnie did.
Okay.
They had two lawyers. They had the one that just passed away, Mike.
Why? Because he won the trial.
I mean, she got really famous for that trial. She
Yeah.
won the Latanza. That's one of the biggest cases. So, but anyway, they used her. I believe her name's Elizabeth, and they used her on it. And then they had another lawyer named Mike. He was John Jr.'s lawyer and Joe Molino's lawyer. He died recently, young. He died out of nowhere. I actually met him several times. Nice guy. He actually told us John Jr. was a rat.
Right.
Like he said, I'm not allowed to say it. He goes, but I was his lawyer. Because
Right.
him and John Elite were like this. He goes, I can't say it. I'll lose my license.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, John Jr. ratted, like 100%. I was his attorney. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So they used the same attorney as that. And what happened was during trial, they went to trial, Joe Camarano and Porky, which was the boss and the consigliere that's running the family. The lawyer goes, and this is how strict the organized crime world is when you're in it, you can't admit to what you are in that way. So the lawyer goes, my defendant wasn't the boss, he was the consigliere.
Okay.
You can't do
You can't
that.
say that either.
No, you cannot say your position in the organization.
But his lawyer said it.
Don't matter. He approved it. You're
Right.
supposed to say, don't say that. And what happened was Mikey, shelved them both. They beat the case. They beat it. They
Okay.
beat it because of what he said, this lawyer, but it also got them vanished from the mob.
Right.
So Mikey didn't like the way the trial went down, and he then shelved Joe Camarado Jr. and Porky.
What does that mean, shelf? Like you're just out of the...
You're out.
Or
That's it. You're nothing. You're a
you're-
mutt. You're basically
okay.
like a rat.
So you might as well just go get a
Yeah,
job.
you're basically no good to the family. Like you can't talk to nobody. You don't report. You don't get, that's it.
Go get a job at 7-Eleven.
You're no good no more. And it could be indefinitely. It could be a year, 2 years. It depends on how long they want to keep you on the shelf for. But the way they did it, they felt like it was a rat move, so it's indefinite.
Okay.
Because he said his position. So you could get shelved for like breaking rules, but that's a different rule. Like you basically admitted in a federal courtroom that I wasn't the boss, I was the consigliere. Like you're saying, like I ran the no good. They took him, they shelved him right away.
What, you're admitting that there's a family to begin
Right,
with,
and then
right?
you're saying your position, you run the family. You're not supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they beat the case. And Mikey knows the actual boss in jail says, oh no, these are out of here. Shelved them, whole big thing. There was a thing in Gangland. There was a shooting, supposedly something happened, whole bunch of shit. So with that indictment, he lost his whole status being indicted on that case. And he was
Okay.
running the family for Mike. Very respected guy. His father was a captain with the Bananas Forever. He was actually a Navy SEAL. Yeah, real tough guy. And, his whole career was taken because of that trial.
What else have we got?
So what do you do? So you're trying to get the movie made. You're working on this boxing. Like, what do you do on the daily? Like, what's a normal day?
I train a lot. I'm big into running and walking. I do about 5 to 6 miles a day. I do abs every day, weights every day. I take phone calls constantly. I get fan mail all day, which I sell books. I sign up for podcasts. I sell high-end jewelry. I'm doing a lot. I'm a money guy, so I'm constantly just trying to make money. Yeah. Roy Jones wants me to do.
You're already
Now,
training.
Roy Jones already made it clear he's very strict with his training, and there'll be no fucking around. It's going to be like military school almost. So once I really go with him, it's like military. He said, like you're in the military.
And if this fight happens, where?
I don't
what's the
know. We don't
timeline?
know any of that yet.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it does happen, it would be on a big platform.
And are you going to try to pull together other fighters to fight along with you guys as like a lower card?
Just gonna
or
do a one. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know what
Yeah.
they'll put together, but I know what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to get him in the ring and see what happens. Yeah, we have a lot of connections with a lot of things right now. This is actually, people don't realize how big this could be, and people are already talking about it like this could blow up like huge. This would be a big rival thing. Like they sued me for $10 million. That family. It was in the front page of the paper. But I'm gonna be training with like one of the best boxers of all time. Which is crazy. To meet him is just crazy. And now he's going to be like my trainer.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's amazing. That's like being trained by Mayweather. It's a dream. So
Yeah, but you gotta get the fight.
I think it'll happen once they see him in my corner. And, we have to hope that John Jr. just stops being a bitch.
Right. Have you considered maybe not saying that, and that might
No,
help?
he's
or
a
no?
punk. He's a bitch. He's always been like that. He's like, oh, I don't want to support these guys. Bro, you're a rat. Like, you're a fucking rat. You're a rat. You have the same thing that we have.
Right.
Like, you're no different than us. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about supporting us? You're known. I sat at tables with captains and bosses when you were fucking labeled no good. And they were saying, don't speak to him. Don't look at him. He's labeled no good. I'm lying about that? Like, it's facts. It's in fucking paperwork. So what are you trying to prove? You were labeled no good. You did 302s. That's it. You're over. That's it. Stop. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't hold up to your name. That's it. I don't care how many mistrials you had. You cooperated. You sat with the government. It's over. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. You can't even agree to sit with them. Even if you don't sit, let me tell you how this goes, Matthew. Ready? Even if you are the agents and I'm a mob boss and I agree and then never go and they found that I agreed, you're still no good.
Right.
You're still labeled no good because you even thought about it. That's how strict they are. You know what I'm saying? So he sat down and literally gave them information. He gave them the Curtis Leeway shooting. Mikey Guayanetti shot him in a fucking cab. He gave them that shooting, basically.
And then turned around and said he didn't want to. Oh, I don't want to testify.
They said that he kept undermining himself, blaming everything on his father.
Right.
That's what they said he kept doing in his 302s. He kept on my dad made me do it. Like he was doing one of those.
Yeah.
Like, no, you did it. You killed somebody with your fucking own hands. Like you were a murderer. He killed more people than his father. His father never physically killed anybody. He only ordered murders. Never was actually physically killed anyone.
He wasn't one of the guys on the
He was just there.
He was there. Okay.
Never pulled the trigger. Never killed anybody with his hands. He only ordered them.
Castellano. That's right. That's what I'm thinking.
Never pulled the trigger. His son, John Jr., did. His son actually killed a few people himself and shot people. So I would say he has more work than his father. And he's sitting there going, my dad made me do all this bullshit. He cooperated. He shot the government. That's it. So your son could get in the ring with me. It's not a big deal. I'm probably not going to win, but we'll see.
No, you will.
What did you think about the Tyson fight against?
They're friends. You know, Tyson 20 years ago knocks him out with a jab. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think Tyson just kind of...
He's old. No, but he couldn't move. You seen his legs. I felt bad, man. You could see he wasn't the same Tyson at all. You know what I mean?
I felt like he held back. Like I felt like it's for a rematch. You know, they were saying like
he can't do it again.
No?
You could tell. No way. He's done. You could see he can't move no more. He has no legs. He has no nothing. He can't move. You know what I mean? Tyson's over with.
You were
That's what
we're talking about. You look horrible. Yeah.
But everybody was saying, you know, like I was saying, and he's Tyson, he's going to knock him out. Like it's done, it's over. But he didn't.
Listen to me. If you bet the odds, if I would have bet that Jake Paul won by this, if it went to decision, I would have made a lot of money. Right. Nobody thought it was going there. They all thought
Tyson Tyson's going to knock him out.
Yes. But he was so like old and couldn't move and had no legs and he didn't even look right. Like Tyson even 10 years ago would have pulverized him. You could see his whole body. He's 60.
He's 60 and he's been through
Come
fucking
on,
hell.
bro. He's 60. If he was even 48, 47, 50, Jake Paul's dead. Dead. You can't even take an inside punch from him. You know, he knocked out the strongest people in the world at the time. You know what I'm saying? You can't eat a punch from Tyson. It was like, they said the equivalent of his punch is like putting a pillow in front of your face and swinging a metal bat at you. Okay? So, like, it's like, he's old, you know?
Right.
It's more like celebrity boxing shit.
I can see.
So you keep showing up on News Nation.
Yeah.
What do they bring you on as a
crime consultant? Because I was in a lot of these places that these people are in. I was in the special units where these celebrities go in, and I know a lot about jail, prison. I did 13 years. I've been in all over. So they ask for my specialties on things and elaborate what it's like, what's in there, da-da-da, and they always use me. They like me. I've been on there 7 times already.
Yeah, so they most recently had you on for the Mangione, what?
Yeah, last night. They wanted to know about the conditions because when there's a race riot in federal prison or like a gang riot, you see that travels through the country. Because let's just say, I gave the scenario, let's say MS-13s stab Sereno. These people are all through the country in federal prison. Now, what's going to happen? The shot callers go, hey, any MS-13 you see, stab him. MS-13, any Sereno. So they have to lock down the fucking country, God forbid, if it gets to that point. And they won't let you out until it's squashed. Even with a race riot. If they feel that they're going to let you out and you're going to stab each other, they'll keep you in that fucking cell for a month. And make you shower in the cell. Everything comes to you. You come out one at a time to shower for 2 minutes. You go back in that motherfucker. Phones don't exist. That's it. You write letters. That's it. So that's what he's involved in now is a race riot and everything's locked down. So he's not moving. I had to explain that. You're basically in the box.
Right.
That's it. You don't move. You don't do nothing until it's over.
Mangione's in the box right now?
No,
everybody is.
Yeah. Basically, everyone is because there's no
themselves.
movement, there's no phones, there's no commissary, there's no nothing. You're locked down until it gets to a point in the real serious prisons where they'll have the shot caller from a gang to the other shot caller, and the security team will bring them in a room and make them squash it and say, if you don't squash the shit, you ain't coming out.
Right.
You ain't coming out. So you want to sit in your cell for fucking months at a time, or you want to end this? because usually they're killing in penitentiaries.
Yeah.
So if another one kills another one, they got to make sure it's over because they come out, it's a fucking gladiators. You know what I mean?
We've had inmates where the warden goes and grabs the
You
shot
have to.
and will go from door
You
to
know
door.
how it goes. You in the feds, you know how it goes.
I mean, I was in the medium.
It don't matter. It's still shot calls. Go to shot calls,
Yeah.
and they'll say, "Hey, listen, if you don't squash, you ain't coming out."
I understand, but I'm
Yeah.
saying I never saw them do that. But I do know that they would call them to the warden's office,
Right.
and so they have conversations. Because what would happen is something would happen at the pen. I was only in a medium.
Yeah.
Something happens at the pen. They lock us down at the medium too.
You have to.
They lock both pins down, the
Yeah.
medium, sometimes the low.
Right.
And then, but we would never get locked down for very long because they realized that they bring the shot callers in, they have a conversation, they go back, that everything's okay because
Right.
they realize like these guys are like, look, we're in the medium,
Right.
we're not doing anything.
They're cutting and fighting. The
Yeah.
penitentiaries, they're killing. That's the problem. That's the problem. They're stabbing you to death. They're not like cutting you.
Right.
They're stabbing you. They're trying to kill you. So it's a little different when you have penitentiary beef than other ones.
Well,
you know?
when you get moved to any prison,
Right.
And this isn't just me; it's everybody. Everybody gets talked to by SIS. Of
course.
I mean, you have medical. You have certain checkups, right? You have to talk to medical.
Don't get
you
off
have
the
to-
bus. I
right?
know.
Yeah. So you go in. SIS comes in, and they're like, and so they're you're a member of a gang. You're a member of this. Have you cooperated against anybody that's in this institution? Do you have any separatees against you? They go through the whole thing. And I remember one of the best version I had of this was the guy said, "Listen, at the pen, we're trying to keep these guys from stabbing us.
Right.
He goes, at the medium, we're trying to keep them from stabbing each other. He goes, at the low, we're trying to keep you guys following the rules.
Right.
He goes, just follow the rules and you'll be fine.
Right.
And I was like, I'm good. I'm a rule
Yeah.
follower. I'm good.
Yeah, well, the pen, anything goes.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
penitentiary.
the guards are just trying to keep, like, they just don't want to get stabbed.
You're with guys with a
I don't care
million
what you
years,
guys are
natural
doing.
lives, double lives. They just don't give a fuck. And
Right.
when shit cracks off, it's like they'll lock you down. They'll keep. My friend was in Hazleton. He was locked down for a month. They killed the guy right there, stabbed him 100 times. You're not coming out until it's squashed.
Yeah.
They stabbed the guy 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Like in his face, literally massacred him. And it's like, he ain't coming out. You know what I'm saying?
So he's in the same prison as Diddy. Like all
Same
these guys.
exact unit.
Yeah. So
They're
these
in the
guys
same
are
unit.
probably
4 North. They're in 4
Yeah.
North. Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the unit, that means that, he might be downstairs and on the second tier, Diddy might be right over there.
Well,
He
this
could
is a
probably
dorm.
see
So
him.
they're the dorms. So they're just laying on their beds.
Oh.
That side is dorms. So you're just chilling in your bed all day.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'd
You're
rather
just-
have a cell.
Yeah, you're just you're just on beds. It's just dorms, but it's only like 20-something people in there.
and you were in the same, you were in that prison?
Yeah, I was in that exact unit. I was with a bunch of celebrities in there. Yeah.
I've only been in one place that had probably 20 guys in it, and that was when I first got arrested. And it was just like that. It was just bunk bed after bunk bed after bunk
Right.
bed. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Is this the same prison that you were locked up with SBF in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or not. Yeah.
And it's specifically for
High profile.
yeah.
People that they don't want in the regular units, they can't. They're on the media. They're all over the news.
You would think they would be in cells though, because for protection.
Well, they had cells, but all right. So I'll tell you why they took us out of the cells. An MS-13 killed a black hand. You know what black hands
Yeah.
are. You're in the feds. They killed one a couple years ago, so they had to take all the MS-13s and separate them, and had to put them all together. They put them all in Lewisburg, and then all the ones in MDC Brooklyn they put in our unit, 83.
okay.
Put them all in there.
In the cells.
And then we got switched to the other side to the dorms. That's why, because the MS-13s couldn't go nowhere. They were lunch meat everywhere they went because they killed a black hand. So they couldn't go nowhere through the country. They had to get pulled out. You know what they do? They put them all on buses and put them in Lewisburg. There was 1,800 of them in Lewisburg. So, yeah.
So these high profile guys, they're not really with like just your average inmates. Like they're not in prison like with a bunch of people. At
No.
least not yet until they're
Yeah,
sentenced.
when they're sentenced, they go to a
Yeah.
dropout yard. But when you're in 4 North, it's only like 20. You have to be cleared by prosecutors, cleared by everything to go in there. You can't just go in there.
And how long do you think he's going to be in there until they
It
come to a
depends.
decision?
They could hold you for years in there.
Yeah.
It depends. You know?
I knew a guy that was fighting his case that was in the U.S. Marshals holdover for
And if you're
7 years.
And if you're
7 years.
cooperating, they'll make you stay there for who knows how long. If you got murders and stuff, you just sit there. I seen guys wait fucking years to get sentenced when you're cooperating. If you got murders and trials and things, you can wait 7-8 years to get sentenced.
Right.
At least 7-8 years to get sentenced. You know what I mean?
At his trial, he looked like pretty cleaned up. Like he didn't look like he'd been sitting
Well,
in a
yeah.
prison.
Well, the units
Yeah.
is really sweet in 4 North. You get
Yeah.
you get access to everything. You know what I mean?
They got a barber.
You have everything in
They
there.
have clippers.
Hockey tables. They got everything. They're hanging out in there. There's nothing going on. It's a cool unit.
Do you think
Just no sunlight.
Do you think he'll eventually be convicted?
100%. He's gonna get
Yeah.
life in prison.
Well, what they're talking about right now. They're saying that they're trying to get that they didn't read him his rights when they grabbed his bag.
Never gonna
I know.
He's
But
going to
they're
jail.
making that argument. But
He's going to jail.
you know that whole
He has a state case and a federal case. He has to die 3 times to go home. You know what I'm saying? He's got to die 3 times before he sees the street. Okay,
Right.
That's it. So if they could die and resuscitate him 3 times, he's coming home. That's the only way. You know, that's it. There's no ifs buts about it.
What other cases or topics have News Nation had you on for?
For Diddy, with the Puff Daddy stuff going on.
But that's just about the jail. What it's like for him in jail.
Yeah, where he's going to be, what's the units going on, and my opinion on it, which, they asked me about that, which, I don't like his charges, obviously.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Because I was with R. Kelly as well. He was another one in there. Fat, disgusting, smells, don't shower. But he's the best singer you ever see in your life. He could sing opera. He could play the piano, the guitar, anything. This guy's multi-talented. And he always manages to put himself next to a gay guy. Guys, that's true. He always manages to find himself in a unit and he'll be next to the gay guy. That lets you know.
Something's up.
You know jail.
Yeah,
Where do you go? When you go
Yeah.
to you go with your peers when you go into prison.
Yeah, you don't
So
want
if you're going with the gay people, obviously you're gay because that's not where we go. You
Yeah.
know, I go, even though I'm a cooperator, I look for Italians, always mafia. When I go anywhere, I go in prison, where's the Italians? I don't
Right.
go, where's the gays?
Yeah.
He
No,
manages always to put himself in that area. They go together.
Even the offenders that are lying about being sex
They
offenders,
find each other.
they still
Find each
they'll be
other.
they're like it's like a gaggle of like geese. There's like 30 of them, and they create a community. Even though half of them in the community are lying about being there.
I was with a bad one. We didn't
but
even
they
know.
but they still get together.
The one in 4 North, we were with the cop, the NYPD cop that had all the underage girls. He was in the unit with me. His name's Carmine. And we didn't even know until it came out in the news. We didn't know why he was in the unit. It's like, yo, you look like he looks like Bart from The Simpsons. Like he looks
Right.
like
They all
like he doesn't look like. I'm like, what crime were you committing? And it made sense when I see in the news that he had 22 counts of pedophile shit. You know what I'm saying? And they gave him. He wasn't cooperating. They just couldn't put him nowhere in the jail because of his case.
Right.
So they had to put him in 4 North, and they gave him like 20 something years. They smoked his ass. He was only 25 years old too.
I'm gonna look something up real quick because even though I know you don't know who this is because it happened so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. New York police officer that stuck baton in inmate's ass. This is 97. He stuck. He stuck. I want to say it was a broom handle in a
I know you're talking about.
detainee's ass.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Of course, that was a famous case. I
Wait,
just
what's his
forgot.
name?
They gave that guy millions of dollars.
What's the guy's name?
I forgot.
In 1997, former NYPD cop Justin Volt.
Justin.
There you go.
I knew it was a normal. Justin. So I was locked up with Justin.
Okay.
Justin was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
It was in the low. He said, anyway, yeah. So what happened was, and I mean, he never once said that it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? They found some guy. I think his version was the guy they arrested him for sexually assaulting a girl.
Oh, okay.
And the guy was talking shit. And when they got him back to the station house,
They gave him a taste of his own medicine.
that's what he said. He said he grabbed and I want to say it. I've heard other people say it was a baton, but I'm almost positive he said it was like a broom handle or
thought
something.
it was a
With
plunger.
with a
Plunger.
broomstick.
Well,
Oh,
it was a broomstick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, broomstick. It was the wooden part of it, whatever, and fucking boom, and
Yeah.
fucked him up. So anyway, obviously they found out about it, what happened, and he was tried. He went to trial, and he said halfway through the trial, they had already offered him 30 years. And now he's looking at like 45 years or something even more. And halfway through the trial, he said, I saw how bad it was going.
Right.
And he went and he said, after like the 2-3 days into the trial, he turned to his fucking lawyer and said, can you get me the 30 years?
Yeah.
And she said, hold on. She talked to them, came back, and they said, you'll take the 30. And by the way, the 30 was just for violating his civil rights.
Yeah.
There was the state case,
Yeah.
which getting 10
It was
years.
concurrent.
Correct. So
Anyway.
he
Don't
never had to
matter.
go to the state.
Yeah.
So he was listen, Justin wasn't a bad guy.
Right.
Justin got married while he was in there. Justin walked at the low, didn't have any real problems. Of course, he didn't really talk to a lot of people either.
Well, my friend Frankie was with the one that killed that suffocated the dude. What's his name? Ferguson.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the cop that killed the black dude and suffocated him?
You're
strangled him?
talking about
George Floyd case.
George Floyd. So the guy that killed George Floyd, my friend Frankie was with him in the units. He was in a dropout yard in Arizona, and they stabbed him. Frankie was there when they stabbed him.
Really?
They stabbed him. Yeah,
I feel like I might have heard that.
they did. They stabbed him up. Yeah.
Yeah, that Justin said he had only had I think one fight the whole time he'd been there.
Over his thing?
No, and it wasn't even over his thing. He said it was just an argument between. He's like, He said it was just an argument. You get into an argument, and the guy pushes you, and boom, he fucking clocked him, and they had a fight. He said, now I've had guys maybe make a crack or two, but it never gets very far.
Right.
And he was like, and that was like the first 5 or 10 years.
because nobody remembers it. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't like in the
It was
public
so
eye
old.
every time. Yeah, it was old. They forget about
But
it.
he ended up getting married to like some girl he went to high school, and got out. I know he's out now. But he's a police officer. I was locked up with a lot of cops. I was locked up with DEA agents.
Listen,
I was cops.
You know what's crazy because things blow over? I was in the state in Groveland, and when you're in the state, they make you learn the trade, right? You have to go to trade school.
Yeah.
So I'm in trade school, and the teacher's assistant turned out to be the Buffalo Path. And I'm like, how the fuck is this guy an assistant teacher? He's
Right.
like, oh, it's 20-something years ago. I'm like, they trust him around a woman? You know what I'm saying? Like he's working next door. Well, they killed what do you mean? The guy and killed the CO in Greenhaven. That happened.
I'm just saying in
like,
general.
It was crazy that you're saying that. I'm just like, this guy is the Buffalo Path bike. He had like 25 to life, whatever, and now he's a teacher's assistant.
25 to life. That's it.
Yeah, that's all they give you in the state, usually the max with that, But it was just crazy thinking about that. Like, wow, this fucking scumbag is here with these guys. It's crazy. Like, you never know who you're around. It's really nuts.
Yeah, well,
But you forget about it. It's old. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. And they get to the point where you're sitting there, you might hear about it and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that. And then everybody else is like, yeah, he's all right. Because they've been with him for 10 years. Like he's been here for 10 years.
I can't
They're
though.
like, yeah,
with those,
whatever.
I can't. I just can't.
What about that? So I already told you about this. The guy who was a part of the team. I think we had this conversation. I told you about the guy who was a part of the drug team that was raiding houses on no knocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was there. Never had any problem. The junior.
If you look up Abdullah, I was with Abdullah. Abdullah's the guy that tried to shoot everybody coming off the fucking subway. Okay, in 2009. And I was with this guy. Wait, the best part is, and I'm going to let everyone hear this one. So now in Farrington, we all sit with our own tables. New York sits with New York because there's all different, people in different states there. So I'm at the New York table. This scumbag sitting at the New York table. Now I'm with my friend Baghdad, my friend Nino. Yeah, he was nuts. He's a blood kid, real tough guy. He actually had my back on this situation. I'll tell you what happened. So Mujo, who I told you, the Bhatia kid that went home on a Rule 35 out of nowhere. We talked about that the last time. Real good kid. Anyway, so I'm with them at a table, and the terrorist. I call him a terrorist.
Right.
That's his fucking name. And he's not Muslim because he was hanging out with the Muslims.
Right.
Now I'm fuming. So I'm like, he's not sitting at the New York table with us. They're like, oh, he's from New York. He lived in Queens. I says, he's a fucking dirty terrorist. I said, he tried to shoot women and children coming off a subway, and then he tried to blow himself up, and he didn't know how to detonate the bomb, the moron. He couldn't even kill himself right. I said, he's not sitting with us. I told him, you got to get up. We get into it. Wait, I'm going to tell you why I feel like it bugged me out about the Islam Nation a little bit, because I'm like, all right. So I tell him, let's go. What do you want to do? So I'm ready to fight with him at the table. But they're like, you can't do that in here. I'm like, no, fuck that. He's a fucking terrorist. I ain't sitting with him. He's not from New York. He's from fucking Afghanistan, wherever he's from. He's fucking one of these fucking things. Wait. He's from a lot of these areas. I said, you can't, I'm not sitting with him. And they're like, oh, you can't do that in here. I said, no, fuck that. I got up. I'm like, what's up? I went after him, basically. Boom, boom. Now, wait. I go back to the units, and I see the Muslims all like lined up.
Right.
I'm not thinking anything. There was like 7 of them. Now, my bunkie Baghdad, who I told you about, double murder, notorious gang leader, tough guy, like a boxer tough. Like, everyone knows he's tough. Me and him became good friends. Bro, the fucking Muslims run down on me. I go in my cell, they come in there. Like 7 of them.
Right.
Well, what you doing with the brother? What do you mean the brother? I said he's a dirty terrorist. He's not a fucking brother. I said he tried to kill innocent people coming off a fucking train. That's not a fucking organization. He's a dirty Al-Qaeda terrorist, I said. He's not a fucking Muslim, so if you're protecting him, then you're a fucking terrorist, I said. And then Baghdad came in and was like, yo, what's up? What do you want to do? The fuck you's in here for? What's up? And then everything changed. Baghdad goes, what do you want to do? The Muslims like, oh, even Baghdad's like, that's not a brother. He's a fucking terrorist. Now you're in the wrong. Why are you sticking up for this guy? He's a fucking terrorist. Whole big thing. It fucked my head up. because I'm like, all right, so they do protect these motherfuckers.
Right.
How you get? This guy is a known Al Qaeda member. He tried to kill women and children coming off a New York subway. Tried to blow himself up and kill people, but now he's with the Muslims and they're protecting him. I says, well, this don't make sense to me.
Why wasn't he sitting with them?
That's what I said. He wants to sit at the New York table. I says, no, he's not from fucking New York, bro. So my buddy Joey Caves pulled up, Joey Capitello, who was a hitman for the Colombo family, would purposely play basketball with him.
Right.
Oh, he go up for a layup. Abdullah was going to the front going, every time I go play basketball, Joey throws me on the floor. He hits me. Joey Caves is cracking him. He would go up for a layup. You just see Joey, boom, bum rush him to the ground. Because he's a terrorist, bro.
Right.
You're not a criminal. You're a fucking dirty terrorist. And then you're being protected by the Muslims. It just had us furious. So, and we were in there with this guy and we had to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? And we made him leave the New York table. I got my way.
Okay.
I'm not sitting with him.
So what did he do? Did he end up sitting with the Muslims?
The Muslims.
I don't know why he wouldn't have been sitting with the Muslims to begin with. Like,
he shouldn't be sitting with them at all. Why are they taking him in?
right. I understand what you're saying, but in the end,
I know
they have
but
to
it
go
fucked,
somewhere.
But it fucked my head up. It just made me think like, all right, why are they accepting this guy? He's Al Qaeda. Why is he sitting with you guys? You know what I'm saying? It just messed up my whole shit because I'm friends with a lot of Muslims. But then
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're taking this guy in?
Right.
He's not a criminal. He's a fucking scumbag that tried to kill innocent people coming off a train in New York at that. And then you're gonna try to sit at the New York table like you're one of us. I told him, get the fuck out of here. You're not sitting here with me. And I exploded. And I pulled one of my and I'm just coming from regular jail still.
Right.
I just knocked the guy's teeth out in the county in Jersey.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I was in a cell where somebody died. Literally, in a cell where somebody dropped dead. So that's all over the internet's known thing. Like I was in a cell. Kid
Yeah.
Bogues in Jersey died in a cell where I was in. He died, dropped dead. So now I'm going into Witsack prison, and you think I'm going to sit with a terrorist because I cooperated?
Well, I mean, clearly you didn't. You know, I obviously
having
I understand.
Not having it, and I didn't. And that's what I told people. And then they were getting mad at me this stuff because I'm like not inciting, but I'm telling people just because we cooperated don't mean we got to be bitches now and accept this bullshit. And people are like, you can't do that now. I'm like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to change my ways because I cooperated. Like, you're not going to have me sitting with fucking child molesters and fucking terrorists now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not happening.
Why? So why was that guy in the unit?
He was cooperating against Al Qaeda.
Oh, real? Oh, okay.
He actually gives seminars for the FBI. Teach them about terrorists. He gives seminars, this douchebag. Yeah.
He got out?
Yeah.
Did he kill anybody?
No, he tried to kill a whole bunch of women and children on the subway.
Okay. So he tried to shoot
He had
him.
an assault rifle, yeah, and then he had the thing attached to him. The bomb. He couldn't detonate it, the moron.
So he wasn't able to kill anybody.
No, tried
He
to.
wasn't able to kill himself.
We used to call him the dumb terrorist, the fucking idiot that couldn't do. Yeah, he couldn't even blow himself up. I told him, click your heels together. Maybe you'll blow up now, you fucking douche. We used to terrorize this guy. He hated me. He hated me and all of us. You know what I mean? So I gave him a hard time.
Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos like this. Also, we're going to leave all of Gene's links for his social media in the description box, along with the link to Amazon so you can buy his book. Also, you guys, we're considering doing live streaming while we're doing the podcast so that you guys can answer or ask us questions and we can answer those questions at the end of the interview. It would be connected to our Patreon. Please let me know if that's something you're interested in and if you'd be interested in joining Patreon so that you guys can kind of interact while we're doing the interview. Thanks very much. See ya.